Internet, it's finally happened. It is official. We are getting Deadpool 3. I wasn't going to do a show today. I've had an insanely busy day. I got up at 5:30 this morning to start work, and I'm very excited to tell you about that, but I can't yet. Sorry, I just wolfed down some food. I was on a juice cleanse like an Angelino asshole for 3 days, and I just had my first solid meal, and that was also a celebration. Because of this, I am elated. We are getting a Deadpool 3. We've got that to talk about. We've got Thor 4 to talk about. We've got Black Panther 2 to talk about. We've got the Snydercut to talk about. We've got so much to talk about, and frankly, it feels like heroes. There is so much to discuss, and there's so much to dive into, and I am so very excited to do that with you. In fact, I'm a monster, and I need to send myself the note that I took in my phone that I forgot to send to my computer. All apologies, Internet. One moment. Unprofessional. For shame. Some people, unbelievable. I'm going to vamp and hope that I left the notepad. Let's talk about Deadpool 3. This is happening, and not only is Deadpool 3 happening, they've attached writers. It is supposed to be... Oh, did it glitch now that I'm back? Okay, I think we're good. Not only do we have writers from Bob's Burgers. Not only is Ryan Reynolds back, because obviously, how are you going to do this without Ryan Reynolds? But also, it is theoretically R-rated and in the MCU. That is so incredible. The MCU has been very anti-R-rated. The MCU has avoided things for quite some time like this. This makes me think that it's possible to do a broader Deadpool universe. This is what I think is going to happen. I think we're getting Deadpool 3. I also think we're going to build up to an X-Force. I also think that there will be times that Deadpool and the X-Men interact, but I also think that Ryan Reynolds is going to want more than just one movie. I could see this being as big as the Robert Downey Jr. deal as far as impact. I could see this being something that impacts a lot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. This is very exciting news. So I believe, my own personal opinion, we will hear not only things about Deadpool 3 as it develops, but we're also going to hear about X-Force. We're also going to hear about other deals in the works. We're also going to hear about X-Men. This is a giant announcement, and it's no coincidence it happens right on the heels of Wonder Woman 84. Wonder Woman was getting a lot of news, and there are definitely a back and forth situation with those two companies, and Wonder Woman 84 is officially going to HBO Max the same day it goes to theaters. Now, this is upsetting for me because this to me signals the end of movie theaters. We've talked about this ad nauseum. My show might as well be called Coy's Very Upset at the Death of Movie Theaters. I understand a lot of people are impatient, and I understand that a lot of people need to make their money, but there's no way that Wonder Woman can make the $500 million it needs to break even on HBO Max. There will not be 500 new subscribers for long enough to make $1 million off each of them, nor will there be 5 million new subscribers that will be members for 100 months or however long that breaking even point happens. It's just not going to happen. So it's unfortunate. I don't know how this movie can make any money. In towns that theaters are still open for now, I don't know if they'll be open by the time we get to Christmas. I do know that HBO Max is a very fantastic service, and I have really enjoyed the fact that it feels like a blockbuster. If you go on HBO Max, it has one of the best selections of back content I've seen. There is so much to watch and so much to enjoy. So I think this is really bad for cinema, and I think this is really bad for movies, and I think this is really detrimental to this individual movie, but I understand how all parties involved felt like they were backed into a wall, and I don't think it's the right move, but here we are. That said, I'm also very excited for Christmas Day now because I canceled my Christmas plans. I'm not flying to see my family. I will not be responsible for harming others for my selfishness, so I'm gonna be here, and now I've got Soul and Wonder Woman 84 to watch, so that's something. So at least Christmas Day, I will have 4 hours of being distracted from the fact that Christmas is canceled. I'm a big holiday guy. I love my family very much. It's more about like dinner and spending time with them than anything, and that's not an option this year, so that's a bummer. But out of that, we get Wonder Woman and we get Soul. Soul will be on Disney Plus on Christmas, and Wonder Woman 84 will be on HBO Max on Christmas, and that is at least something. So the battle for cinema continues on. I know Patty Jenkins really wanted it in the theater. I know the cast did as well, but that is what it is. I think we also, I'm trying to remember all I wrote down. Again, I'm a monster. I literally wrote down more stories this week than I had in a very long time, and they're in the note that's on this phone because I'm filming this on this phone. For shame. I also wanted to talk about the Snyder Cut. We have new Snyder Cut Cut footage that just dropped. The new Snyder Cut footage is largely the same from the last trailer, even the same music, just in black and white, and there are 4 new vignette frames. There's 4 new scenes that are just very short. The one I like the most is the Cyborg scene because I've been really wanting to see more Cyborg. I'm very hopeful that's a lot of the Snyder Cut is more Cyborg stuff. Actually, you know what? That's not my favorite. I take it back. That scene is great, but I am a huge Kiersey Clemons fan, and seeing Kiersey in the Snyder Cut is going to be such a highlight for me. So to finally see the scene where Flash saves Kiersey is a huge moment for me personally. That I think that's going to be the highlight of the whole Snyder Cut for me, so I really hope there's a lot more of that. I'm such a fan of hers. I'm really curious about Flashpoint. I'm really curious about all this going forward. Time will tell. The Snyder Cut looks like it's going to be epic. It's going to be huge. Every moment looks to the brim. We also this week found out that there's only 4 minutes of additional footage, roughly, that's going to be in the movie. Now, what I'm curious about is we keep hearing that it's $70 to $90 million of something. I don't know if that includes the special effects. I don't know if that includes the production. I don't know if that's just the cast plus those 4 minutes. I don't know if they're counting post-production in that number. They must be. Because a lot of people were complaining that's like $20 million a minute or whatever it breaks down to. I do think that includes all the special effects they're doing and everything else. And I'm hopeful. It just seems like a hell of a lot of money for 4 minutes. But we also haven't seen half of the movie that was made before. We haven't seen the Snyder Cut is half of what we experienced in Justice League. So in addition to the 4 new minutes, we also get an entire other half movie that wasn't finished. So that's going to be a lot of the budget going to those special effects, etc. We will see. And yes, as the chat has pointed out, there is more Joker footage. Jared Leto is coming back. I talked about that on a previous week, but I'm very hopeful for more Joker goodness because I think Jared Leto's a genius and I don't particularly like the Joker take they had. So I'd love to see something that led to that Joker take. I'd love to see a different take on the Joker with Jared Leto. I'd love to see what Snyder does with Jared Leto as the Joker. All of that has me very excited, but it is very, very early days yet. I can't wait to just even see him. Joker's such a fun character. I can't even wait to get eyes on him. So we will see how that goes very, very soon. Also in this very number edition of Koi Cubed, we've talked about Deadpool 3 and we've talked about Wonder Woman 84. We also need to talk about Black Panther 2. News broke just today that they already have a start to production for Black Panther 2. It looks like they're going to be filming July of 2021 in Atlanta, as well as probably other locations. The first one went to Korea. This is going to be the hardest thing to do. I cannot imagine the position they're in, trying to, follow in Chadwick Boseman's footsteps, whether it's Shuri, which is what I assume is going to happen because it's narratively appropriate for the comic book, it's narratively appropriate for the horrible situation they're in. It is the only thing I think that makes sense, but Disney has surprised me in the past. Marvel has impressed me with their ability to, go off the book. I just don't know what they're going to do with this horrible, horrible situation and this impossibly irreplaceable loss. Spidey has joined us. But it is going to be July of 2021, filming in Atlanta, and that is very soon. That's 7 or 8 months from now. So, I just feel for everyone in that production. I can't imagine the cast moving on without him. I can't imagine Ryan Coogler going on without him. I can't imagine the movie existing without Chadwick Boseman. But we will see. They apparently attached a villain, an antagonist, in the press release that came out that seems like it's early days yet. They didn't confirm who the villain was, but I assume it's going to be Kraven the Hunter, because Ryan Coogler had originally wanted Kraven the Hunter for the first film. I think we're getting Kraven the Hunter in perhaps a tie-in with Spider-Man. I've said from the beginning I want Spider-Man to be, the Kraven movie is right there, like he's being hunted, all those things, so maybe Black Panther ties into both. I think eventually we'll end with Namor and Doom, I think, as the Black Panther world expands. I don't think this particular actor is Namor, but I could be completely wrong. The name slips me because I have the note in my phone, and again, I'm a monster. But yes, there has been an antagonist cast. I don't know if it's the big bad. I don't know if anyone does. If you hear a definitive, that is not necessarily what I think. But yeah, we will see. Time will tell, and hopeful. We'll see what happens. Also, in speaking about sequels, Thor 4, which I hope they play with that fun turn of phrase, Thor is going to be coming out in the next 2 years. It moved up its release date. They're going into production very soon because Australia has solved more of this problem than we have. And I'm hearing, and a bunch of people are hearing, it's not just me, we're hearing that it is going to be very much an Avengers 5. It has got a sprawling cast as described in the press release, and they're describing it as akin to Civil War, where Civil War wasn't an Avengers film technically, but it was Avengers-esque in scope. So we will see what that means for Thor 4/Avengers 5. Either way, that sounds enormous and crazy, and I would be concerned normally if they were trying to make something akin to the Avengers or something as big as the Avengers, but Taika Waititi has never steered us wrong, and this is a really cool opportunity to expand the world, and Thor 4, very excited. We also found out this week that Black Lightning 4 will be, Season 4, apologies. Black Lightning Season 4 will be its last season. No more Black Panther, Black Lightning, sorry, both stories today. Black Lightning will conclude after Season 4, and I'm really curious what the CW shapes itself into going forward with this kind of content. I know they're building up the Superman and Lois show. I know with Arrow ending, we were wondering if we're going to get a Canaro-verse with Black Canary, all those things. But it'll be really interesting to see where that goes without Black Lightning in the story. Because as far as I knew, it was doing very well, and I was really excited for more of it. I don't watch every episode of anything, much less the CW shows, because there's just way too many of them, but that was one I was enjoying. So yeah, we'll see. In non-comic book news, now that we've talked about tons and tons of comic book content, Sam Rockwell, Saoirse Ronan, and David Oyelowo, I'm so bad at saying that name, Oyelowo, maybe? Oyelowo? Bad at that name. A lot of vowels. I apologize, David Oyelowo. Are in a murder mystery together. I love me some murder mysteries, and I love me some Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan, and I am very, very excited for this movie. It's early days yet, but all of those actors, all three of them, are incredible, and I cannot wait to see them in something all together, because they're genius. Speaking of genius, the Lord and Miller duo are re-teaming up with Channing Tatum, and that is always a good news. Channing Tatum is a genius comedic actor. We haven't seen him in a few years. I think he's raising a daughter and just killing it as a dad, but he's coming back to the movies with Lord and Miller. They did 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street with him. They showed what a genius of a comic actor he can be, and this is apparently a monster comedy coming from Universal. So the dark universe of monster movies was scrapped after the Tom Cruise Mummy did not take off, and they cast all of those incredibly expensive actors, and then everything fell apart. That's gone. Invisible Man did very, very well, and now they're just rebooting with individual movies, not a shared universe, and this is apparently going to be one of them. So Universal doing a monster comedy is so my jam. And speaking of 21 Jump Street, also in that Deadpool 3 press announcement, they quietly snuck in another Sony property in that 21 Jump Street is getting a female spinoff, which we kind of knew about, but it's now got a title, which is Jump Street, Now for Her Pleasure, and it's set to star in talks Tiffany Haddish and Awkwafina, which is exciting because they're both genius comedic actresses, and I could go for a female-led 21 Jump Street. Like, that seems like my cup of tea for sure. And especially if any of the original gang are involved, that kind of humor is my cup of tea. Very excited. Over in the world of horror, we have another hope at getting the Predator movies right. I think the only rough film in Shane Black's filmography is the Predator movie he made, Predator 4, a few years back. I know there was a lot of studio interference. I think Shane is a genius, and I do not think that movie was the movie he intended to make. But Dan Trachtenberg of 10 Cloverfield Lane fame might be his exact cup of tea to make a Predator 5. He just got attached, and this actually gives me a lot of hope. 10 Cloverfield Lane is such a taut, claustrophobic genius thriller that I'd love to see him with a budget. I'd love to see him expand his world. I'd love to see all of that, and especially with something like Predator, you can do a lot with it. So theoretically, this gives me a lot of hope. 2018's Predator, no bueno, and 2022, 2023 from Fox, Predator 5. Yes, please, Dan Trachtenberg, gimme that movie. I'm literally going to go through the news websites that I attend that I took my notes from so I don't miss anything that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to end today's news with, there was a bit of sad news I want to talk about with Halloween, and I think it's really beautiful, but I hadn't read about it yet, so I want to share that with you. But it's a downer, so I'm going to get to that near the end of the show. First, an upper. I have been playing this game recently. Well, not super recently. It's been like 3 months. But John Getz, one of my patrons, fantastic human being, loves himself some The Last of Us. And I've actually become a huge fan because of my playing it for John Getz. And there was talks of a show for a while, a movie for a while, then back to a show for a while. Not only is the show going forward at HBO, which we announced a little while ago, but it got a full season order, which is huge. I'm hoping this reverses the video game curse. There have been good video game movies. I hear Sonic's even great, but overall, I would say it's not batting the best batting average. So let's hope this Last of Us series can absolve a lot of the bad comic book and video game movies that make the genre scoffed at. Comic books took a while to fix. Video games are taking a while to fix. They're such beautiful serialized bits of content. I think it suits TV better, so you're not cramming anything to 2 hours. And The Last of Us is surely full of depth and intensity. So full series order for The Last of Us. I'm excited because I like the storyline from what very little I know, from what I've played so far. If you're just joining us, we just had a little spike in viewership. We talked about Deadpool 3 at the top and all of my impossible hype. Y'all, Deadpool 3 with Ryan Reynolds, R-rated, Bob's Burger writers, there is nothing that will temper my mood today. Also, the thing I filmed this morning, I cannot officially talk about, but let us say it's not Deadpool 3. I wasn't filming Deadpool 3. Someone tweeted that at me and it was very lovely and I chuckled, but it wasn't that. Will be exciting for a lot of you guys as it's something that's making a return, and I'm really, really excited to share it with you. So, and hopefully you're watching Collider Movie Club as well with me and Perry. I just saw a Streamlab before I moved on to my next story, and I want to make sure I get to that. All I saw was it was Jesus, and that was a Streamlab, and I want to check that before I move on to the next thing. It is loading ever so slowly. Jesus! In honor of me missing 2 streams in a row, here's $50. Put it towards Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I got some pictures of some pickups of vintage and new comic books. Also, not sure if you heard, but Valiant Comics is bringing back Shadow Man. Dude, I will 100% put this towards Miles Morales. Thank you, kind sir. I am actually hoping to get that on Black Friday for some sort of discount. I must own it. Thank you. That goes a long way towards Miles Morales Spider-Man. You are a saint, and you are very, very appreciated. I would love to see those pictures of Spider-Man comics and other comic books. Throw them in the Discord, man. I think we've talked on Patreon before. Throw them in the Discord. I want to see them. Also, I did not hear about Valiant Comics bringing back Shadow Man, so you're breaking news for me, which I very much appreciated. That's awesome. I think Valiant has a really cool opportunity to do a darker shared universe with characters that are not like as super heroic in their tradition, that they might be able to become like a nice little underdog comic book shared universe with the Vin Diesel thing, because they're doing a Bloodshot 2, and I think that could start something. So it's really cool that Shadow Man's coming back, as well as a lot of other Valiant properties. There is hope. I always think the more diverse the superhero content, the longer we can make this whole wave last. If everything feels like a Marvel film, then we're not going to make it. If everything feels like a DC film from 2010 to 2016, we're not going to make it. 2017, 2018, 2019 DC started to mix it up. They started to play with different animals. Marvel does a really good job of playing with different genres, but there's still a thing that makes the Marvel movies similar. There's still a ness. Guardians and Winter Soldier are nothing alike, but the MCU as a macro has a lot that feels similar. So eventually that'll run its course. Logan needs to be a Fox film. We need more films like Logan. We need more films like Deadpool, and we're getting a third one. So I love the idea of Valiant getting to play in a larger sandbox and getting to do much, much more. Thank you for letting me know, Jesus, and thank you very much for the super chat. You're a kind soul, and I appreciate you. All right. Healthy, not the Rona. Getting tested next week again. Got tested last week. I should be okay. All right. Let's see. Also, in the news today, I wanted to talk with y'all about Animaniacs. I cannot wait for Animaniacs, and there is so much hype for me to watch that show. That's the other thing. Stranger Things Season 4. I don't know if you all know this, but I'm a huge Stranger Things fan. I have a giant Stranger Things poster behind my TV. I think that's one of the best nostalgia shows we've had. Since Stranger Things 1 started, I've been saying that nostalgia was going to be the next thing. I also don't know if anyone else says nostalgia. I think I might have coined it, but I'm sure someone else said it first or at the same time, but I've never heard anyone say it. Nostalgia is the age we're living in. It's making nostalgia new. It's rehashing. It's like postmodernism. It's the meta-modernism, where you're basically ironic and sincere simultaneously. So Cobra Kai, I consider nostalgia. Stranger Things, I consider nostalgia. Deadpool, in some of its 90s sensibilities, is nostalgia. So yes, Sahil, I coined it. Oh, sorry, that was Ragged. It scrolled. Ragged I coined it. Thank you, Ragged Company Recordings. I appreciate you fueling my narcissism and coining new phrases. Robert Englund is in fact joining the cast, as Sahil has said in the live chat. It's weird, some of them pop up big and some pop up small, and I see this one. Robert Englund joining the cast of Stranger Things Season 4. This is great news because I love that Winona Ryder, she's a horror movie legend, obviously from the 80s, 90s, and today. We got, the insanity of Carrie Elways in one season. We get, I think, Matthew Modine. We've got this great tradition of 80s icons being a part of an 80s icon-loving show. Robert Englund joining a horror show set in the 80s is pitch perfect. It's the meta-modernism. Like, it's the thing I'm talking about. It's a tongue-in-cheek glance at camera that is just in a casting choice, and I think it's inspired as hell, and I'm so very excited for it. Bring on Stranger Things Season 4. I want it real bad. Coming to America, speaking of nostalgia, a sequel to Coming to America, is coming to March 2021's Amazon Prime. We are getting Amazon Prime, direct to Amazon Prime, exclusive Coming to America. If you're a fan of the first one, if you're a fan of that genre, if you're a fan of Eddie Murphy, this is very exciting news. I think Coming to America is genius, and I think that service is a very fitting thing for that style of movie. I like mid-budget films getting streaming releases while we're in coronavirus times. I think that blockbusters and I think indies, if possible, should go to the big screen. Indies are not going to make as much money on VOD because people aren't going to find them. I think the large blockbusters keep the indies able to go to theaters. If there's a 14-house cinema and 7 houses are playing the Avengers, then 7 other houses can have other movies. And I think that Scorsese never grasped that part of it. I think they're a key part of keeping the movie theaters going. It's a shame the way things are going, especially with Wonder Woman and everything else. But Coming to America and, the mid-budget comedies, I think it's great to have the VOD. I think Palm Springs is one of my favorite movies this year, and it was perfect for TV and perfect for streaming. That said, this next news story, that was all a long tangent to say that Disney might be pushing the live action, which I'm not as big of a fan of, but they are moneymakers, pushing the live action releases of Cruella, Peter Pan and Wendy, and Pinocchio straight to Disney+. If Disney is bailing on movie theaters with 3 giant moneymakers, the live-action movies might not be as good as the animated ones, and they might be just not the good version of nostalgia. They might be the profit-based versions. I don't think it's a great look for cinema that 3 of them are looking at maybe landing on Disney+. I know they got to keep their streaming services up. I know that HBO Max need to keep their things going, but I think we need at least a 6-week. I'd prefer a 9-week plus, but I'm trying to be rational. 6-week movie theater window where the movie theater gets exclusively, or movie theaters don't have a way to exist. You're not going to have movies to play in theaters if we keep releasing them this way because they're taking a lot longer. Also, it ups their budget by like $2 to $5 million by having COVID testing done. Like, you have to have all these things that up the budget. So indie films aren't going to be able to afford that. It's going to take longer for those to get made if they get made at all right now. And it's a lot. It's a problem. So we will see how this goes, but 3 Disney Plus giant live action things is a very scary sign for the future of cinema. I'm holding out hope. I'm trying not to be a downer, but between Wonder Woman and that Disney announcement and the latest Disney calls, I'm staying optimistic. Like I said, we got Deadpool news today. Nothing's going to bring me down, but I do want to be realistic about how insane it is that all of this is happening right now. That said, have you seen, probably not, it hasn't aired yet, but have you seen the trailer for it? I don't talk about Oprah often, but I'm a fan of Oprah. I think she's one of the best talk show hosts, period. I think the world agrees. She's got an empire. Oprah is using insane green screen technology to put her with her guests along with headphones, like earpieces and camera tech, but you don't see any of the other stuff, and it looks like they're in the same room, and it's the closest to seamless I've seen yet for a talk show to do. Check out the trailer for her interviewing Barack Obama, and it looks like Barack and her are both sitting in front of the fireplace in the same room seamlessly. I looked for edges. It's insane. I'm very hopeful for this technology while we need to be safe and quarantined. It's really tricky. I don't know if we can go back to junkets or to talk shows or any of the things I do right now. I don't know if any of those things are possible. Certainly not premieres, certainly not press screenings. But Oprah making it look at least possible visually adds an element of hope, because this is a future that at least feels like connecting, and I miss that, and I miss connecting with people, so that is really cool. So check it out, Oprah, with Barack Obama. I know other people did it first, but I think this looks better. So I've seen some of the other ones. I think this one just, you can see some of the black lines in some of the other ones. This looks like they used the Void technology, and it looks just bitchin'. That said, I'm the most excited for it because I also love interviews with Barack. He's doing tour for his book, and I'm very excited to read it, and I like seeing him pop up on stuff. He's popped up on Twins, the New Trend, one of the only pages I follow on YouTube. I follow like 10 pages because I don't like a lot of notifications. Twins, the New Trend are these two kids that listen to classic music of all types, like rock, rap, country, like just classic songs, like the iconic bits of music, and they videotaped their first reaction to it, and Barack popped up on their show, and they talked about Bob Dylan. They talked about Bob Dylan, and it was really cool to see just like the president talking to these two kids that just really love music. Check out Twins, the New Trend. I'm a big fan of them, and they're fascinating because they're just so zealous, and I respect zeal. So great channel. Let's talk about the Halloween thing, and then I'm going to wrap up since I don't have any more of my notes, and I just wanted to freak out about Deadpool at you guys, frankly. I'm filming next week's Coy-Cast. Next week is a new episode, so any news that I missed today will be on this week's Coy-Cast. I filmed them all on Monday. You can expect it Wednesday at dawn, so any of my notes that I missed in here will be in the next Coy-Cast, so you can look forward to that if you want to know my take on some of the stuff that I might have missed. I apologize for anything I might have missed. I want to talk about Halloween Kills. I'm not a big horror guy generally. I'm not, that's just not my tempo. I don't really like the feeling of being afraid or gore very much. Even gore in like action movies gets under my skin. But I love what it means to people. Just because it doesn't mean anything to me doesn't mean I have any negatives to it. A lot of people get a lot of emotional connection to horror films because you're emotionally invested because you're experiencing all those emotions. So I think it's a really beautiful art. It's just not my art. Halloween means a lot to a lot of people. A lot of people I care about. Like Adam Plavik is so obsessed with Halloween, like I am to Deadpool, and it's magic. Jamie Lee Curtis, I was lucky enough to be at a Hall H panel with, and like in the audience, in the room. And Jamie Lee Curtis left the stage to like talk to a domestic assault victim in line who said that Halloween saved his life because he knew what to do because of a Halloween movie. And that sounds cheesy, but oh my God, it wasn't in the moment. It was heart-wrenching and beautiful to see the survivor and him getting to meet his hero and thank her and hug. And it was one of the most powerful moments I've had in Hall H, and I've had a lot of powerful moments there, and that's what Hall H is about, is those big moments that can only happen there. That said, Halloween Kills just got pushed from this year to 2021, and there was a clinically ill, I forget the phrase, I'm so bad at this, I'm so bad at death because I'm so afraid of it, terminally ill. There was a terminally ill fan who wanted to see Halloween before he passed, and with it moving, didn't think he'd make it. He had gotten engaged to his girlfriend in 2016 on Halloween. They had planned on getting married in Halloween of 2020, and he was diagnosed with terminally not terminally ill, like stage 4, no way out of it, cancer, and basically asked if they could watch Halloween Kills before he passed, and went through a bunch of friends of friends. He was an aspiring director, and they went through the production company of the team that made Halloween Kills. They were actually able to screen it, but on top of that, Jamie Lee Curtis found out how much of a fan he was, and she's an ordained minister. So she not only spoke with them, she sent a signed knife from the set of Halloween Kills, which is just so darkly lovely, and also, as an ordained minister, married the two of them at something like 9:30 p.m., and he passed away at 11 in September. So he didn't make it to Halloween, so if they hadn't gotten married when they did, it would have been too late at that point. And I just think that the magic of art and what we all love and fandom and all the things that bring us together is so profound. And I think that fandom is a great unifying force, and loving things is universal. So if you love something, love it loudly. If you love something, love it with your all. If you're passionate, be passionate. And I just love Jamie Lee Curtis for doing that for them, that amazing gift. And that really touched me. So I wanted to share it with you guys because we're all into really, zany shit that feels trivial to some people, and it's not. It matters to us, and it matters loudly. So keep loving your shit loudly, because you never know when your last day is, and you never know how it affects others. So I love sharing what I love with you because it affects me. So I hope that you're excited about shit. So Halloween Kills is going to be a different experience for me. I actually might see it now because of that story, because I really want to support that whole team, because that's really cool. So it was Anthony and Emily Woodley who this story is about. So thought it was rad of Jamie Lee Curtis, and I thought it was a really cool unifying story of fandom. I wanted to share it with you guys. And I don't have my comic books in front of me because, again, the note is on my phone. So you, dear watcher, viewer, should check out, I was going to say dear reader because I read too many comic books. You, dear reader, should check out my Instagram or Twitter where I put my top 9 every week in my feed, and you can see what I recommend this week. And also, if you're a patron, you can see what I thought of every single book I read this week, which is a lot more than the 9 I post. And there's lots of other cool stuff coming, as well as in December, we've got the Schmodown, we've got Kevin Smith, we've got the Teams Title Tournament with Shazam, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming at you, and theoretically, the thing I can't talk about that I filmed this morning drops next week, late next week, but it might be the following week. Hopefully it's next week. So I'll be able to talk about it very, very soon. Hopefully it can be a big announcement instead of me just like yelling it from a rooftop into my neighborhood, because I'm excited about it. And also check out the new show, Collider Movie Club, with myself and Perry Nemiroff, where we break down the themes and book club-esque elements of movies, and so you rewatch them hopefully with a new light. We did Mad Max for our first episode, and this week's episode was 10 Things I Hate About You, and next week's episode, I can't say who's on it because that would give away the movie, but know that it's someone that you guys have seen me with professionally, that I'm excited to share the episode with you about. Lots of vague booking in this episode. Okay, that is going to do it for me. I'm just going to check the live chat real quick. Okay. Everyone talking about Robert Englund and people doing stuff before Oprah, but I was just impressed with Oprah's technique because I thought it was really cool. Okay, yep. Remy's art, the only reason I don't want Storm in Black Panther is I don't want her to be just the wife of T'Challa. I want like an origin story, and I'd rather have a solo movie, and if not a solo movie, at least her as a lead instead of just putting her in a Black Panther movie, but that's just me. I personally think that it would be a very crowded way to introduce her, but that's just my take. And she very well could, but I don't think they're going to introduce the X-Men that direction. Yeah, we will see. All right, that is going to do it for me today. Thank you all so very much. I just wanted to jump on a chat and share my Deadpool 3 excitement with you guys. We're getting an R-rated Deadpool in the Marvel Cinematic Universe starring Ryan Reynolds, and there's writers attached. This is all incredible. I appreciate you. I will see you probably on Tuesday for another episode of Koi Cubed, and whatever stories I forgot are definitely going to be in there. I've had a long day. I apologize for my mud mouth. I'll see you guys soon. Oh, it's doing that thing where it won't let me leave again because I'm on my phone. Okay, I found it. See you guys.